In this video, we will look at a library function called function. The function interface is used where, given an input, we expect a result in return. For example, given an employee ID, we wish to fetch an employee, or transforming the input argument to produce a new object, or perhaps searching for a specific object from a list of data. The function interface definition is like this. The interface has one single abstract method called apply, which takes in a type of T and returns type of R, which is what the generic functional interface is defined here. So given an object T, we expect to receive an object of type R. The single abstract method apply applies this function to the input argument to produce the expected result of type R. Let's take a simple example. Given a movie name, we wish to create a movie object. The movie name is a string object while the return result is a type of movie. So this functionality suits functional interface. We create a function as shown here. Let's get rid of this because we are going to use the library function from java.util.function package. So we create a function here. On the right hand side, you see the lambda expression given a string s. We are simply creating a new movie, taking that as the movie name. Once this function is created, using it is really easy. As you can see, we are using the create movie function and invoking the method apply on that by giving it the movie name. The apply method applies the movie name onto the function and returns you the return value, which is of type R. In this case, is the movie itself. The movie is returned as expected. So what we have done here is we created a movie function which takes in a string s, in this case the movie name, and returns a new movie. So in this case, we are trying to use the function as a factory for churning out movies. Let's take another example. This time we wish to search for a trade from a list of trades given its ID. So the input to this particular function should be an ID and the return is a trade. So our function can be written like this. Let's go through with this trade finder functionality. So the lambda expression says that given an ID, do some logic. What is that logic? We have a list of trades by fetching from the utility trade util. For each of the trade, run through a logic to say check the ID of the trade against the passed in ID. And if it matches that, we know that it is our trade. So return that trade. For whatever the reason, if there is no matching up IDs, then create an empty trade and pass that one. The main takeaway point from this particular trade finder is that we are passing an integer ID here and we are expecting a result as trade. Let's see it's working in this test function method. We know trade finder is a function interface. So simply call method apply on that by passing an integer value 2. Remember that apply method is going to return you a type of R. In our case, the type R is being the trade. So that trade matches with ID 2. Let's do a little bit more about trade finder. We can use our supplier function which we just learned few minutes back in fetching the trades. Let's do that here. Let's go at this trade finder one more time. Look at the way we are fetching the trades now. Can we not use a supplier function we just learned few seconds back? Let's see if we can use a supplier function to fetch the trades and enhance our trade finder function. Remember, the supplier takes in nothing but returns you a set of data. So in this case, it is taking no argument but returning you a list of trades. Let's not disturb this one. Just simply cut and paste and create trade finder 2. So here our trades are going to be fetched from the trade supplier. So what we are doing is that we are using another function inside this functional interface. We can also do a little bit more modification. Instead of going through this for each loop, there is a sleek way of doing the same functionality using Java 8's Shiny Stream API. I'm not going to go into detail with the Stream API, but for now I'm just going to show you a piece of code. We are going to return to it in due course of time. So what we are doing here is we are using a stream functionality to stream through the trace list. For each of the trade, we are applying a filter. The filter says that match up on this particular ID. Once the filter has been applied, any successful filter trade will then be called by findFirst method. Once that particular method has been called, the next one is going to be calling as get. So what happens is that findFirst is going to return you an optional of trade, which is basically your return trade. We are certainly going to run through this Streams API in due course, so do not worry if you don't understand any of this concept yet. To wrap up, function interface is a library function that's used in situations like mapping or transformations, or even finding something else. So as long as you have a requirement to fetch a result for a given input, function is your best bet.